Good morning, Stampers. I'm Meg from LovenStamps, and we are here for another Maker Morning with Meg tutorial. So yesterday on episode 94, we made the faux silk technique background, which is kind of a messy technique, but honestly our silicone craft sheet here was the hero of that project, so no mess, no fuss. And this is the card we made, so refreshing your memory if you are missed that one and want to go back. But we're going to build on this today because I had two sheets of the, a couple sheets of this faux silk paper left, and I didn't want to waste them because they're so beautiful. So, morning guys, Sue, Petra, Kathy, Tanya. Anyway, I didn't want to waste them, so I decided to go ahead and showcase one of the other dies from the Simply Succulents bundle, from the potted succulents dies, I think is what they're called. So there are a ton of dies in this set, and we used yesterday the ones for the little flowers and the little labels. I always said I love the die sets with extra labels in them. This one's got 4 fabulous labels. But this is just one page of dies because there's a whole nother page that includes this gorgeous frame. So today's card is going to be a faux stained glass technique, which of course capitalizes on this amazing background that comes from the potted succulents die set. So, all right, so I'm actually standing here because I thought that it would be easiest if I just kind of show you. I've gotten a lot of questions about die cutting machines lately, the Stampin' Cut and Emboss. So I'm going to show you one more time. My plates are totally chopped up. There's actually like little bits of paper in here, and I had a comment from somebody who said that she actually washes them and she finds she gets good results from that. I usually find that they work okay for me chopped up this way, but just like the little ones, remember you want to make sure you're using all of your square footage on your die. So I cut my cardstock to just a 1/4 sheet, so it's a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Thanks for the share, Debbie. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put this through. And one of the tricks that I use for doing dies this large and detailed is that I go back and forth a couple times. So I'm gonna go through one time, sorry for facing away from it, and I'm gonna go back, okay? And that is going to do us. Now, when you take this out of your die cut machine, it's a really good idea to take it up without taking the die off of the cardstock. So sometimes they just come up together, which is perfect. And then you just look from the back side, I'll get real close, and make sure that it's really well cut through. Because if it isn't, you can just move it over. And especially if I'm cutting a bunch of dies at one time, sometimes I'll find that it helps to just move it around on the plate so that I'm kind of hitting a different area of my die cut machine. So it used to be more of a thing with the old die cut machine. I don't find I have to do that much at all with this one. So, all right, so most of this is going to just pop out. So here's my magic, get a lot of the pieces out. All I'm gonna do is just drop this on my countertop, okay? And as I drop it, most, if not all, of those little pieces are coming out. So not all, but a lot of them, right? So here's, you can see pretty well. So then I'm just gonna sweep those up and into the little scrap bin. I'm gonna show you my tool for what I do next. And I think I'll come back over. The risk of getting little tiny pieces of cardstock everywhere, but we can handle it, right? Okay, so I'm gonna bring you guys back over here and let's get you guys set up so that I can see what's going on here. All right, and so what we're gonna do now is go ahead and start to pull out these extra little pieces. And so the easiest way to do that, you can poke them all individually, but that's a lot of time and I don't know, I don't like that much. So I'm gonna take this foam sheet, and I looked this up in the catalog so I could just show you which page in case you're wondering, but it is on the unsung, let's see, Crafting's Unsung Heroes page, which is for sure the case because this is a really great tool. So the one I'm using is an old one, but this is the one that we carry now. It goes on your take your pick tool and you just screw it on and you get 2 sheets of these foam mats because honestly the foam mat is the thing that gets the most wear and tear. So this is basically like a ton of little pokey tools all at once, and all I'm gonna do is just gently run this over a couple times. You can run it back and forth if you want. You can run it just forward, and you'll be able to see that most of those pieces are some of them will fling themselves out of the way, but you'll be able to see that most of those pieces are just gonna pop right out for us. So you might have to go back and grab one or two. But when like 15 years ago or whatever, when dyes like this first came out, I used to cringe and run away because they were so hard to deal with. But that's just not the case anymore. They cut beautifully, super clean. You can see that. And really kind of a minimal mess and fuss. So for the effect of it, honestly, it's amazing. All right, so I'm gonna bring you guys down just a little bit closer there. And now we are going to go on with our card. So like I said earlier, I have these leftover piece here of the faux silk paper. I've already trimmed the edges. Usually, I didn't tell you this yesterday, but usually I trim it from this side so I can see what's going on there really, because I want to see the background paper and not get all caught up in the tissue. So we're gonna go ahead and adhere this. And the paper that I cut is a little bit smaller than my frame, but you know what? It's not gonna matter, so, all right. Let's go ahead and start gluing. I'm gonna bring my silicone craft mat back here because it is going to save the day for us again, and I'm gonna flip it to the clean side. All right, so we're on the back here, and I'm going to glue this down, but I'm gonna use my multi-purpose liquid adhesive. Now, I know that you've seen me use this a lot, and maybe I could go ahead and dot all those little places, but that doesn't seem super efficient to me. So in my little glass that I use to keep my glue pointed the right direction, I also keep a little bit of Stampin' Sponge. So this is my gluey sponge. And what I'm gonna do is put a little bit of glue on here, okay? And then I'm gonna start pouncing this. I don't wanna wipe because I don't want it like a big buildup of glue, but I'm gonna start pouncing this on my die back, okay? Now it's kind of key not to let your die move while you're doing this. So kind of keep one hand on it at all times. It's like a toddler on a changing table. Just keep one hand on at all times. All right, and I'm going to keep moving around. A lot of times you can pick up the glue from the places where it's kind of thick on your craft sheet and just grab that to move around, or you can just keep adding some glue. And it doesn't have to be a ton, right? Remember, I always say about this glue, if you can see it, it's enough. So same thing goes for this technique. If you can see that glue on there, and it's really convenient that we're using black cardstock so you can see it really well, then you don't need to worry. Now you notice I'm not really going back over there anymore. I'm afraid that I've shifted my die a little bit, and I don't want to add glue over there and have it end up on the front of my die. So I'm gonna kind of stick here where I know I'm still in the same place. All right, Teresa says she loves this die. Yes, it is absolutely beautiful. It was the thing that made me want this stamp and bundle set, actually. So, all right, I'm gonna take this back here and I'm going to lay this on my project. And because I always say this glue doesn't grab immediately, I'm going to take a block and just pop that there over the top of it to give it a chance to grab, okay? And then we're gonna bring our paper trimmer in here. But let's look at what we wanna do next. I'm gonna add a greeting to this. And so for our greeting, I'm going to grab my Memento black ink pad again, because the black of the stained glass kind of complements the black of our ink here. And let me get this out of the way. I'm gonna stamp this kind of almost in the middle, actually, because the die that I'm gonna use to cut this out is wider than kind of at first glance. So it's a really pretty shape, and it includes a stitched edge to go along with this project. Now, if you missed the background yesterday, I'm going to show you too. This is the Ombre Designer Series paper, and you can see how I use this in episode 94 to make the pretty ombre background. That was kind of our starting point. So I also want to pull some pieces of this for adding to our project. So for little embellishments, we're gonna cut our tag, and then I used this die yesterday, which I really like, these little hanging pieces, and I can cut them from the Designer Series paper also. And then I thought, you know what, I love this little aloe kind of guy, and so I'm gonna cut him from some paper too, but you know what, maybe not the just plain ombre. What if I cut him from the polka dot paper, okay? So we're gonna cut some of that too. So through the magic of television, I have these pieces here. So we have our green, purple on the back, little sprigs. We have our greeting. There we go. And I have 2 of the polka dot aloe plant looking pieces. So they're cut from 2 different things. Okay, looking at comments. Trish says, could you have used adhesive sheet when you die cut? You can. Yeah, the adhesive sheets for die cutting are a good choice too for adding to the back of that frame, and then you'd get the whole piece covered. I didn't try that. I wasn't sure how they do with the dimension on the faux silk, if there would be an issue with them not being happy to be so bubbly, but definitely it's worth a try. If you're really nervous about the glue, then give it a try. But honestly, a silicone sheet is a really fabulous thing to add to your stamping tool collection. So yeah, that's a good suggestion, Trish. Okay, so I'm gonna bring my frame back in here, and I'm gonna show you why I don't care that this is a little bit bigger than our space. So again, I'm gonna turn this to the back so that I can really see where my paper is, and I'm gonna just buzz off the edges so that we are staying true to our designer series paper piece, which is 3 and, I'll just measure for you in a second, 3 7/8, it looks like, I have a ruler right in front of me, 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So it's a little bit smaller than like that 1/4 inch mat size. Okay, and now you can see it doesn't really matter that we kind of had an uneven edge to our border before. So this is actually kind of a nice way to make this die fit lots of things. So it can fit anything up to, I think it actually measures, let me measure it here for you, 4 inches wide by 5 3/8. So it can fit anything up to that, and just trim it down, and you can make anything smaller. So, okay, but I really liked that black edge, Meg. What do I do now? So easily, you just take another piece of black cardstock and slide that under there, and then you have your pieces. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use this. So I'm gonna use my Seal Plus adhesive, which I also used yesterday because when I want to make sure that this slightly wavy technique paper is stuck down well, the Seal Plus is a really great shape, or a really great tool. And I'm going kind of slow with it because it's a little bit bumpy on the other side. So there we go. All right. And now I'm going to pop this here on our card layer, I guess. We don't quite have our card. All right. So there we have our background piece. And then I'm going to bring in another piece of Rich Razzleberry as our card base. So again, like, the wow factor of just layering that color on color is fantastic. I adore the way those colors go together from Stampin' Up. So designer series paper, ink, refills, markers, blah, blah, blah. All the pieces go together. So, oops, I almost did that upside down, which would still be pretty, just a different effect, right? Okay, so I'm going to just drop my black back on here for 1 second so that I don't have to hold that. And we're going to bring our pieces here. Now, the green is really pretty for a pop of color, which is kind of what I did yesterday with that color pop. But I feel like today I want to do something different. So what if we flip these over to their purple side? Now, technically this color is Blackberry Bliss, but it's still going to give us some nice choices. And I cut them on the ombre, so you can kind of see them lighter and darker. This one especially, you can see the darker going down to the lighter. So that gives us some nice variation to our color. And let's see, I'm gonna put my greeting down here. And if we pop these behind, kind of like this, we're gonna use them kind of like a little ribbon accent almost. So I'm gonna pop them like this. And then I feel like this needs something. So we have our succulents here. Now I kind of played with this earlier. Actually, I like it more now than I did earlier. Before I was thinking I didn't really like these. I felt like it was just a little bit too much, but I don't know. What do you guys think? And then I'm also gonna bring back in, so this is my set of pieces from yesterday. So in my stamp case here, I like to keep my extra pieces when I've die cut extra pieces that I haven't used. So then they're handy to pop in here into my next project. So anyway, so I have this flower too. So let's see, I kind of like this down here. I don't know, what do you guys think? Should we add the green? Do we leave the green off? I don't know, so many decisions. Okay, I gotta turn it so I can actually see it. I think they're okay. All right, here's without. I kind of like it without. All right, what do we think of that? I kind of like this one. I feel like it's a little simpler and has a little more punch just because it's simple. Oh, Kathy says add the green. And Sue says she likes the aloe. All right, okay. All right, I'll add them back in. So let's see. I do like that I cut one from the lighter green and one from the darker green. Ooh, what happens if we make them purple? Not so much. Okay. All right, so adding adhesive to this. So what I like to do is kind of start off with my base where I have all the pieces kind of set where I want them. And then I'm going to use an edge from my Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to trap all of those pieces across there, okay? So now our aloe hopefully still fits underneath here. Yep, looks like we should be good. Okay, so now I'm gonna peel this off and use this sort of as our main sticking point here for things. So I'm gonna layer these and pop them down like that. And then I think because we've covered up a lot of this adhesive, I'm gonna go ahead and add just a little bit more, add a couple extra dimensionals kind of down here. So this is living dangerously, right? Like sticking adhesive on when you're not exactly sure where the your die cut's going, but I think we'll make it. All right, so I'm gonna pop these on and then stick this guy over the top. All right, and then we have our little piece here to add, and I'm gonna add this one with a Stampin' Dimensional too. So this is colored, this piece here is colored with my Stampin' Blends, and if you missed the coloring on the Stampin' Blends, that's in episode 95 also, so you can go back and check that. And let's see. There we go. All right, and I kind of like that guy down here. Now, we have stamped and layered, but I want to add some kind of fun embellishment to this. So I decided yesterday to use those in color dots, but I think today I'm gonna bring back in my Artistry Blooms adhesive sequins. These things, I didn't use them a ton when the catalog first came out last summer, but they have been like my go-to lately. I used them on this sponge card idea, the watermelon one that I did, and I just love the way they add that tiny little accent. So I'm gonna use them here, and I'm gonna pop a couple kind of down at the bottom. I always like to kind of weight the bottom of my project, and then maybe let it lighten up a little kind of here towards the top. So now we have some extra little bling on our card. So, all right, so Faux Silk technique, wonderful for making fun card backgrounds, and super for giving us this faux stained glass look too. So lots of good possibilities that you can do with that. The ombre paper for the DSP that I used as that base yesterday comes in 4 colors, right? It comes in Bermuda Bay, it comes in Granny Apple Green, there you can see the Bermuda Bay, and then the back of the other one is Rococo Rose. So you have some good ombre possibilities there. I don't know, I might have to make some more faux silk today. This is really kind of, this technique is making me really happy. So a couple people said that they were super inspired to try this technique, so I'm excited to see what you guys come up with. A couple people said that they felt like it was way beyond them, which, you know what? try something new, right? It's just tissue paper and some ink and so forth. And if you really don't like it, just toss it. But maybe you'll love it and it'll be the start of something new and fabulous for you. But most of all, I've gotten some comments in the past couple days that people have been excited to try some new techniques or to get things out of their stamping stash that they haven't really used in a long time. And that is the best. That's the whole purpose of these videos, right? Is to inspire you guys to get something out and make something fun and share something with someone else, so that you get the joy of crafting, the joy of sharing something, and then the joy of that person gets from receiving. So that's kind of our whole deal here. So anyway, I will be back tomorrow with another project to share with you, and it probably won't be faux silk. So we'll move on to something else tomorrow. So if you missed, you can go back and rewatch, and the tutorial supplies, the supplies for this project are all in the video description. So you can check those out whether you're watching now on Facebook or later on YouTube. So, all right, guys. Oh, and Sue says you could punch the silk. Yeah, totally. I mean, there's lots of things. Just make sure it's really dry when you get ready to punch it. You could die cut it too. Oh my goodness. Okay, tomorrow we're not doing silk. We're doing something different. All right, bye guys. Have a great day. Happy stamping.